This is diving deep and down the rabbit hole and seeing, what's on the other side. The blue pill and the red pill.
I definitely want the red pill.
I think we mentioned it in the last interview, but who is Mark?
I do believe that we are just scraping the surface as far as what we understand and what the actual nature of reality is.
So you're being less of a caricature and becoming more just Mark. We definitely had a so-called awakening, as they call it, an awakening to the concept of life being more than what you see in front of you. And I guess what I wanted to ask you is, one theory that people have in the world, and I've talked about it a little bit, are we living in a computer simulation? Is this reality a simulation of sorts, like the Matrix? What's your feeling about that? How do you perceive reality?
Definitely don't rule out that being a possibility, that we're in some sort of computer simulation or matrix. That being said, that wouldn't be my first theory. Any conceivable reality that we believe exists, does exist simultaneously on an alternate plane of existence. So that's in line with more string theory. So if we're going in line with string theory, then in some other reality, there does exist a reality that is a computer simulated reality. So who's to say that that's not this one right now?
You're talking about there is some reality, like within a multiverse concept, you mean? Do you think in that reality that sometimes these different multiverses overlap each other and you might, in theory, be tapped into the dark side of you from another reality when you're having these moments where you feel something but you don't know where it's coming from?
I believe it. I believe on some level there is a part of us that is connected to all of these versions of ourselves. So on some level that information is being received and feeded to you. So yeah, I do think that we are affected by all these versions of ourselves, as are you affecting those versions of yourself right now.
So the concept of manifesting things that you want into your life or don't want into your life, you might be tapping into all that potentiality of the different multiverses or different versions of yourself.
I believe it. And if you want to get into some really wacky concepts too, you could look at it that every moment is one reality, and each moment is a new reality, new reality, new reality. So when that you are connecting into these so-called other versions of yourself, you may be on some level literally jumping into that reality and experiencing that, even though the differences can be so subtle that it's not like you look around your world and you think I'm in some different world, but maybe on some level you are actually in a completely different version of the world, which feels like it lately, I'll tell you.
But if you continue to think, act, and behave through your subconscious programming like the version of yourself from yesterday, you will continue to be the same version of yourself day after day.
That's one way of looking at it, or another way of looking at it is that you're recreating the same version over and over and over, and each moment is literally a brand new version of you, a brand new reality. So even though the changes in your reality are very subtle, like maybe you wake up and you just feel a little different, well, technically that little difference still creates an overall complete different version of you.
But I guess where I'm getting at is how to change that loop that you get caught in is by visualizing a different outcome or a different reality, which eventually you get through to your subconscious, creates more than just a slight change, but an overall life change.
Absolutely. And I think the first step of that would be becoming self-aware of what your habits and patterns are, that you can look at it objectively first. That would be the first step before you could even begin to make those changes. You have to acknowledge and be aware of, okay, well, how do I act? What are my habits and my belief systems around my behaviors? Joe Dispenza gets into a lot of that stuff, which is really cool. and parts of the brain that are often lying very dormant just light right up, and you're literally producing an energetic field on a literal scientific level, and that's just from residing in that state of love and compassion, which shows how important meditation and focusing on those states actually is when you get to it on a scientific level as well. It's pretty wild stuff.
I really think the only way for me to live is what you just said, is to come from a place of love and change things through love, not through anger or through frustration or hurt or hate, but through love.
Just try to stay in those higher vibrating levels and look at every opportunity as opportunity to expand and learn. And when we're going through rougher times, those are lessons for us on the larger scale. So even though they might seem really hard and messy at the time, just try to ask yourself, well, what can I learn from this? And just keep expanding, and we'll get through it.
I want to acknowledge you and say that you have been a very great friend throughout all these years that we've known each other, and this guy has helped me through so many dark times in my life, and you know, and I've seen him in dark times, and we've both seen each other in happy times, and I think we're both in good places right now, and it was just lovely that we could share our camaraderie to the world, I guess you could say. And I'm grateful to technology because it brought us together in this conversation that we could share with other people. And this is the beauty of technology. And on that note, thank you for being here, Mark, and I look forward to some future interviews with you, and maybe trying to get you on the show more frequently, talking about different stuff. And I will put a link below again where you can find Mark on YouTube or Instagram, and he does some fun stuff online as well that always makes me laugh. So check Mark out on his Instagram and YouTube, and I will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. It's been a ride.